My wife threw a forbidden party while I was away on a business trip. Her actions led to my daughter being abused by two men. So, I got my revenge and ruined her life. My name is Andres, I'm 38 years old, and this is the story that broke my soul and turned me into a different person. It all started 3 years ago when I was on a business trip in another city. I'm a project manager for a logistics company, and that trip was crucial, a week of meetings to close a contract that could change my career. My wife, Monica, who is 36, stayed home with our 14-year-old daughter, Melanie. I trusted them. The house was mine, I bought it before we got married, and everything was in my name. I paid the bills, came home tired, but was always happy to see my family. Our life was normal, or so I believed. Monica worked as a receptionist at a local gym. She said she loved it because she could work out for free and meet people. I suspected nothing. Melanie was a quiet girl, a good student, always drawing or reading in her room. I called home every night from the hotel. Monica sounded normal, and so did Melanie. They'd tell me about school, dinner, the shows they were watching. But on Friday, my last night before coming back, something changed. I called, and Monica didn't answer. I texted her, and she replied late, "I'm busy. I'll call you tomorrow." I didn't think much of it. I figured she was just tired or watching a movie with Melanie. The next day, I took the flight back, excited to see them. I arrived around noon on Saturday with a suitcase full of gifts, a necklace for Monica and a professional sketchbook for Melanie. When I opened the door, the silence hit me. The house reeked of alcohol and smoke. There were cups scattered on the floor, empty bottles on the table, and cigarette butts in the kitchen sink. The sofa was stained, and the kitchen was full of crushed pizza boxes. My first reaction was anger. What had happened here? I went upstairs looking for Melanie. Her door was locked, which was strange because she never locked it. I knocked. Nothing. I knocked harder. I heard a sob. "Melanie, it's Dad. Open up, please." The door opened slowly. My daughter was on the bed, wrapped in a blanket, her eyes swollen from crying. Her room was a disaster. A lamp was knocked over, the mirror was broken, clothes were all over the floor. I approached slowly. "What happened, my love? Where's Mom?" She wouldn't speak, she just cried. I hugged her tight. She smelled of fear. Then I saw the bruises on her arms. My heart stopped. Monica appeared in the doorway, looking sleepy with her hair disheveled. "Andres, you're home early," she said, as if nothing was wrong. I stared hard at her. What happened here? Why is Melanie like this? She shrugged. "We had a small party last night, nothing serious." Melanie locked herself in her room and started her usual drama. You know how she is at this age. Drama. My daughter's door was broken from the inside, she had bruises, and she was trembling. Something wasn't adding up. I told Monica to stay downstairs and closed the door to Melanie's room. My daughter, through her tears, began to speak. "Dad, Mom brought people over. A lot of strangers. They were drinking, smoking, playing loud music. I locked myself in my room because I was scared. Then, 2 men came to my door. They knocked, I didn't open, but they broke the lock. They came in. And they hurt me." She broke down. I couldn't breathe. My little girl had been abused in her own home, all because of a party her mother threw. I charged downstairs like a bull. Monica was in the kitchen, pouring herself coffee as if it were just a normal Saturday. I grabbed her by the arm. "You threw a party with strangers and let 2 men go into Melanie's room?" She yanked her arm free. "It wasn't a big deal. I just invited a few friends from the gym." Melanie exaggerates, she's always looking for attention. I wanted to kill her right then and there, but I contained myself. I took out my phone and recorded everything, the trashed house, Melanie's room, the bruises. I called the police. Officers arrived in 20 minutes. They took photos and statements. Melanie was taken to the hospital for an examination. I never let go of her hand. Monica tried to follow us, but they detained her for questioning. At the hospital, they confirmed the worst. Sexual assault. My daughter had been raped. The names came out later, Kevin and David, acquaintances of Monica's from the gym. But I only learned that later. That night, I slept in the hospital with Melanie. I didn't cry. I was just in machine mode. The next day, I hired a lawyer, Lisa, a family law specialist. I changed the locks on the house. Monica was never setting foot inside again. I packed her things and left them by the door. She came, screaming, but the police removed her. The house was legally mine. She had no rights to it. Melanie wasn't speaking, she was in shock. I took her to therapy with a child psychologist, Dr. Sarah. They began daily sessions. I took a week off work to be with her. I installed security cameras, alarms, and double deadbolt locks. No one was ever going to touch my daughter again. The police reviewed Monica's phone. What they found was devastating. Messages flirting with Kevin. She had given him Melanie's Instagram handle. In one text, she wrote, "If you guys come to the party, I'll clear your debt." She had invited them on purpose. And when she left to buy food for over an hour, she left Melanie alone with them. When she returned, she found her daughter crying in the hallway and did nothing. She dismissed it as teenage drama. She didn't call the police, she didn't check on her, she just let the party continue. Monica was arrested for criminal facilitation and child endangerment. I felt nothing. Just relief. My daughter was safe. But this was only the beginning. I was not going to let Monica play the victim. She destroyed my family. Now, I would destroy what was left of her life. The first few days were absolute hell. Melanie wouldn't leave her new room. She slept with the light on and a baseball bat under her bed. Every noise made her jump as if it were a gunshot. Dr. Sarah came 3 times a week. She explained that the trauma was deep, but Melanie was strong and, with time, she could heal. I nodded, but inside I was burning with rage. Thinking about those 2 animals touching my daughter made me want to break something. The police moved fast. They found Kevin and David in under 48 hours. They were in a cheap motel, high out of their minds. They were arrested without resistance. In the interrogation, Kevin tried to blame David. David said they were just going along with the game. Neither showed any remorse. Only fear. When the charges were read: statutory rape, breaking and entering, aggravated sexual assault. The prosecutor assured me they wouldn't be getting out for years. Monica's phone was pure gold for the prosecution. In addition to the messages flirting with Kevin, there were photos of her doing cocaine in the gym bathroom. They found chats where she asked Kevin for another line in exchange for favors. And the worst part, a voice message where she told a friend that Melanie needed to loosen up a bit, and that Kevin was perfect for that. I heard that audio in the detective's office. I had to step out into the hallway so I wouldn't vomit. My lawyer, Lisa, handled all the legalities. We filed for an expedited divorce and demanded full custody of Melanie. Since the house was mine and Monica was in jail, she had no grounds to argue. The judge signed the order within 72 hours. Monica temporarily lost all parental rights. Lisa also advised me to sue for emotional damages and medical costs. We started gathering invoices, therapy, hospital bills, the new security system. It was all going to be charged to Monica. Monica's family got involved. Her mother, Patricia, called me, crying. Andres, she's my daughter. She can't go to prison. Melanie is exaggerating. I wanted to hang up, but Lisa had told me to record everything. Patricia continued. Monica says the boys went in by mistake, that Melanie provoked them with her Instagram photos. I saved the call and handed it over to the prosecutor. Patricia ended up being subpoenaed as a hostile witness. Monica tried to contact me from jail. Handwritten letters arrived. Andres, I love you. It was a mistake. Please, drop the charges. I read them all and gave them to Lisa. Each letter was evidence of manipulation. In one, she wrote, "If you get me out of here, I'll give you everything." Everything. She had nothing. Her job at the gym fired her the day after her arrest. The owner didn't want a scandal. Her friends deleted her from their social media. Patricia tried to sue me for defamation. Lisa countersued her for $30,000 for harassment and emotional distress. We won. Patricia had to sell her car to pay the settlement. The trials began. First, Kevin and David pleaded guilty to avoid life sentences. Kevin received 12 years, no chance of early parole. David got 10. Melanie didn't want to go to the hearing. I did. I stared them down as the sentences were read. Kevin winked at me. I had to restrain myself from jumping the railing. A guard escorted me out before I lost control. Monica's trial was a media circus. Her lawyer tried to paint her as a victim of addiction. He said she was under the influence when she organized the party. The prosecutor presented the texts, the photos, and the voicemail. He showed how Monica left to buy food for exactly 1 hour and 12 minutes, leaving Melanie alone with 15 strangers. The jury took 45 minutes to deliberate. Guilty of criminal facilitation and child endangerment. 6 years in prison, with the possibility of parole in 4 for good behavior. A lifetime restraining order, barring any contact with Melanie. When they read the verdict, Monica collapsed. She screamed my name. The guards dragged her out. I felt nothing. Just relief. But it wasn't enough. She still had her family, her friends, what was left of her reputation. I was going to take it all. I started by leaking evidence to the local press. A journalist, a friend of a friend, anonymously received the texts. The next day, the newspaper headline read, "Mother facilitates daughter's rape to settle drug debt." The gym shut down temporarily from the bad press. Monica's friends vanished. Patricia organized a social media campaign claiming Monica was a victim of the system. They raised $500 on GoFundMe before the platform shut it down for violating its terms of service. Melanie started to improve slowly. After 3 months of therapy, she returned to school with online classes. I installed a panic button on her phone. I bought a dog, a German Shepherd named Max, trained for protection. Melanie adored him and slept with him every night. I started working from home to be nearby. My boss understood the situation and gave me the flexibility. One night, Melanie asked me, "Why did Mom do that?" I didn't know what to say. I explained that Monica was sick, that the drugs changed her, but that nothing justified what happened. Melanie nodded. I don't ever want to see her again. That day, I knew my daughter was stronger than me. The therapy costs climbed. We were already at $7,000 for sessions, medication, and hospital bills. Lisa filed an order to have Monica pay for it all from prison. It was approved. Her prison wages, 25 cents an hour for cleaning, would be garnished and sent directly to us. It wasn't much, but it was justice. Melanie started drawing again. Her works were dark at first, shadows, broken doors, crying eyes, but over time, colors appeared. One day she showed me a drawing of Max protecting her. "This is me now," she said. I smiled for the first time in months. The first year was the hardest. Melanie had nightmares. I slept little. But together we built a routine. Breakfast together, therapy, online school, walks with Max. On weekends we watched superhero movies. I said she was Robin. Monica was still in prison, but her family didn't give up. Patricia tried to visit her and record a video for social media. They uploaded it to TikTok with sad music. It lasted 12 hours before it was taken down for sensitive content. The second year brought more changes. Melanie went back to in-person school. Max went with her to the park. I started dating a coworker, Sarah. She was divorced and had a 10-year-old son. Melanie approved. She's good people, Dad. We didn't rush things. Just dinners, movies. A normal life. Melanie turned 15. We had a small party, just us, Max, and 2 friends from school who understood her situation. There was no alcohol, no strangers. Just pizza and ice cream. Melanie blew out the candles and made a silent wish. She didn't tell me what it was, but I saw hope in her eyes. Monica was in a rehab program in prison, trying to reduce her sentence. I didn't care. My focus was Melanie. She started talking about college. I want to study law to help other girls, she said. My chest swelled with pride. The drama wasn't over. Monica would be out in 2 years for good behavior, and I knew she would try to come back. But this time, I would be ready. Because my revenge wasn't just punishment, it was protection. And for my daughter, there were no limits. The following months were a period of tense calm, but also of reconstruction. Melanie continued therapy with Dr. Sarah, but she was no longer the same scared little girl. She began to smile more, to laugh with Max, and to talk about her future without fear. At school, her grades shot up like a rocket. She made new friends who understood her story and didn't judge her. Max became her faithful shadow, a German shepherd who barked at any stranger who got too close. I trained him for that. At the house, I installed 4K cameras in every corner, motion sensors, and an alarm connected directly to the police. Melanie knew the emergency plan by heart. If Mom shows up, we call the police, she'd say with a firm voice. I'd nod, proud. My daughter wasn't a child anymore, she was a warrior. Melanie turned 17. We threw a bigger party this time. 10 friends from school, Max in a ridiculous birthday hat, and a chocolate cake with candles. Sarah and her son, Jack, came too. Jack was 12 and adored Melanie like a big sister. We played music, played video games, and ate pizza until we were stuffed. Melanie blew out the candles and, for the first time, made her wish out loud, that no one ever hurts me again. We all applauded. That night she hugged me tight in the kitchen while we washed dishes. Thanks for protecting me, Dad. You're my hero. I felt like all the pain was worth it. My daughter was healing. Sarah and I were still dating. We didn't rush. She understood my priority, Melanie. But little by little she became part of the family. Jack and Melanie got along great. On weekends we had barbecues in the yard, walks with Max. Movie nights, a normal life. Something I thought would never return after that fateful night. Lisa kept me updated on Monica. She was in a prison rehab program, participating in addiction groups, writing letters of remorse to the parole board. They saw her as a model candidate. She was scheduled to get out in exactly 4 years on strict parole. I said nothing. I just updated the security. I added biometric locks and a facial recognition system at the door. Melanie joked, "Dad, this is like Fort Knox." I laughed, but she knew it was necessary. Time flew. Melanie graduated from high school with honors. She won a full scholarship to a prestigious university to study law. "I want to help girls like me," she repeated in every interview. The local papers interviewed her as an inspiring survivor. She never mentioned Monica by name, she just said, "A person who should have protected me failed me." I looked at her and saw pure strength. Monica got out on parole on a Tuesday during a torrential rainstorm. Lisa notified me via text. She was living with Patricia in a small apartment on the outskirts. She was working in a call center earning minimum wage. The restraining order was still in effect. She couldn't come within 500 meters of Melanie or me. She had a parole officer monitoring her, but I knew Monica wouldn't stay put. She was always manipulative. And she didn't stay put. 2 weeks after her release, I got a message from an unknown number. "Andres, it's me. I need to see Melanie just once, please. I'm her mother." My heart pounded, but I didn't respond. I saved the message, took a screenshot, and called Lisa. A clear parole violation. Monica's officer brought her in for a warning. She swore it was an accidental text. They didn't fully believe her, but nothing came of it immediately. Then the worst part came. One afternoon, Melanie came running from the park with Max panting at her side. "Dad, a woman followed me. I think it was Mom." I checked the street security cameras. It was Monica, 200 meters away, standing by an old car, staring fixedly. She was wearing a hat and sunglasses, but it was her. I called the police immediately. They arrived in 10 minutes. Monica tried to flee when she saw the sirens, but they caught her 2 blocks away. In the car, she had printed photos of Melanie from Instagram, a map with our address marked, and a handwritten letter. Another serious violation. They took her back to prison that same night. The judge was clear at the revocation hearing. "Ma'am, you had your chance." Monica cried and begged, saying she just wanted to see her daughter. The judge didn't budge. 2 more years in prison, with no possibility of early parole. Patricia called me screaming the next day. "You're destroying my daughter. You're a monster." I hung up without a word. Lisa garnished Monica's call center salary for the $7,600 in unpaid therapy bills. We also seized her old car, which we sold to cover part of the debt. Monica went back to prison with nothing, just her orange jumpsuit. Melanie didn't cry when she found out. She just said, she brought it on herself. She was in her last year of high school preparing for college. She was talking to admissions, filling out applications, practicing speeches. I helped her with everything. Sarah and Jack became our constant support. Jack gave Melanie a keychain with a lawyer charm for good luck. She always carried it. We sold the big house. Too many bad memories. Melanie's broken door, the stains on the sofa, the smell of alcohol that never fully went away. We moved to a smaller house in a quiet neighborhood with a yard for Max and high fences. Melanie decorated her room with college posters and new drawings, bright colors, superheroes, Max everywhere. We started over, with no regrets. Monica is still in prison. Patricia stopped fighting, exhausted and alone. Kevin and David are serving their full sentences. Melanie starts college next fall. She's going to study criminal law with a specialization in child protection. She already has an internship lined up at an NGO that helps abuse victims. I'm still working, but now with peace in my heart. Sarah and I are talking about moving in together next year. Jack calls Melanie sister without hesitation. The revenge wasn't blind hatred, it was calculated justice. Protecting my daughter justified every step, the lawsuits, the leaks, the cameras, the restraining orders. I would do it again 1,000 times. Melanie sometimes tells me, "Dad, thanks for not giving up." I answer her, I never would. You're my world. Today I look at my daughter packing for college and I know we won. Monica lost everything. Freedom, family, reputation. We won a new life. And that, my friends, is the best ending I could ask for.